Hey Goddess, it's Cecily here of Operation Fibroid Freedom. It's been a minute. I've been busy with my clients and unrolling my platform further in Atlanta, online, and globally, through coaching, private coaching, as well as my new course that is now available, the Fibroid Freedom Toolkit, Herbs and Supplements to Shrink Uterine Fibroids Naturally. Putting all that stuff together, as well as just doing a lot of outreach in the community with women who are in search of natural options for womb wellness and fibroid elimination. So I apologize if you have been missing out, on my content. As you know, it's kind of a juggling act. I'm also a musician, and there's always a lot of things happening in my world. And I apologize if you've been looking and the videos have not been here, but I'm back now, and I will continue to, keep working to be balanced better to bring active, regular content to you. But today, I just want to talk really quickly and leave some tips for you that may be of help to some women that are on their own natural fibroid elimination journeys about misconceptions that I have learned in talking to a lot of my own private coaching clients, a lot of women just through meeting them through this platform that have questions about uterine fibroids and questions about their own bodies and, the origin of fibroids and dealing with them. I noticed that there's a lot of common questions that I get. So I would, want to start bringing answers to the public, to women that are looking for the answers to these very same questions through my platform here on YouTube. So I thought that this would be a cool way to address some of those questions for any of you other women out there that may be interested in having the same questions. So let's get started. Today's video is going to be 5 misconceptions about fibroids that may prevent you from succeeding with natural fibroid elimination. So my top 5 misconceptions that women have about fibroids that prevent them from shrinking them naturally. So number 1, first is very simple. A big misconception that I've encountered daily with women when I talk to them about fibroids in general, on the message boards, online, in Facebook, in the groups, in the comments here on YouTube. A lot of women are under the impression that everyone's body, all women who deal with fibroids are the same. That if you have fibroids, you're going to be on the same journey as the next woman with fibroids. And in my personal experience, that can't be further from the truth. And it's important to highlight this, not to chastise anybody, but just for education, because it's empowerment when you start to change your thinking along these lines, to understand that we are not all the same. We do not all have to have and suffer the same sentence just because, we have shared this diagnosis. Because if we start to get caught up in that type of thinking, well, this woman that had fibroids says that, this was not successful for her, or this woman said this about fibroids, so that must not be right for me. We're limiting ourselves to the possibility of natural fibroid elimination and womb wellness. And going a step further from that, you're limiting your beliefs and also limiting what you're able to manifest as a goddess here in this realm, with all the tools that are available to you, that are available to all of us at any given time, as long as we are operating from a state of abundance, a place of entitlement in our position as a member of the divine feminine and a carrier of the sacred womb. The more we get caught up in what somebody else encountered, especially if it's a negative outcome or somebody's negative point of view on something that is specific to shrinking fibroids naturally, you start to change and alter your destiny and what could have been an opportunity for you to see success, because we are different. And what is available to you is only available as much as you're willing to allow yourself to have faith and believe and take steps of focused action, which would be your natural fibroid elimination regimen. The more you limit yourself, the more you believe someone else's negative beliefs or buy into someone else's mental blocks as to what it is available and what is possible. If you have been diagnosed with fibroids, you're starting to manifest exactly that. And I mention that because, you know, that's more of a metaphysical standpoint to kind of highlight this first misconception. But from a more everyday physical example of this would be how, you know, some women I've noticed when I talk to them about a herb or a supplement that I recommend, some women may have not, or there may be a woman who has not seen success with a particular herb or a particular supplement or a particular healing modality. And then if one woman hears that and gets hung up on the fact that, you know, milk thistle did nothing for her when she was trying to detox her liver. So when I mention, you know, you may want to add some milk thistle, and the first thing you're going to say is, well, I heard them talking about milk thistle on, you know, this page, and a lot of women said it didn't work. It doesn't work. So milk thistle is just, it doesn't work. Those are the types of things that I mention and that I'm highlighting or really trying to illustrate when I say that we're not all the same. Because the reality of that is, from a more everyday physical perspective, first of all, what type, brand, what dosage of milk thistle did the woman take? What was her diet like when she was eating the milk thistle to further support the ability of that herb or supplement to go to work and really effectively detox her liver and cut off that food supply, lower estrogen dominance to uterine fibroids? You know, there's a lot of other questions that would need to be answered in order for you to really see if you and this other woman's situation, bodies, circulatory systems, liver, enzyme levels are really the same for you to really just say cut and dry, well, this woman had this experience, so I'm going to say that that doesn't work for me because, you know, we both have fibroids, so we must be the same. So that's an example of that first misconception and how it can trip you up. You got to be open-minded. You got to be flexible. You have to be intuitive. I cannot stress that enough. There's a level of intuition that goes along with taking your body's natural ability to correct imbalances and infirmities into your own hands. So you're going to have to be individual and distinct in your role as a goddess and start to say, well, I'm going to be open-minded and do this research. Yes, I did hear there's some negative talk about, you know, this aspect of what, you know, may be being recommended to me by my fibroid coach. But who knows? Maybe this may be beneficial for me. Maybe there's a different way that I can use it, or I'll find something more beneficial when I incorporate it into my lifestyle and my diet. So that's misconception number one. I could go on and on. So I'm just going to keep it moving. I hope that that was kind of, if you feel me on that, you understand kind of where I'm coming from. If not, you can drop me a message in the comments. But we're not all the same is the bottom line. So you got to be open-minded and you got to see what your body organically communicates to you and what you are intuitively led to utilize for your own life, because all of these things play a part in becoming successful with natural fibroid elimination and womb wellness. Number two, my second misconception when it comes to uterine fibroids that prevents women from being successful with shrinking them naturally is that it takes one thing. There's one thing that they can do. All they got to do is find that one thing to shrink fibroids. And when I say this, specifically, well, what do I need to take? What herb do I take to shrink fibroids? There's no one herb to shrink fibroids. Fibroids is a well-rounded approach of a lot of different angles that are all holistic and involve returning to nature, involve transparency and living in your truth. But, you know, it's a series of steps. And if you're interested in this, I will be holding a webinar for free to help you educate women who are interested on the steps necessary to set up a successful natural fibroid elimination regimen. If you're interested, send me a comment on this video saying interested with your email, and I will email you a link for the Zoom webinar. But again, the succeeding with natural fibroid elimination, it involves a paradigm shift and an approach that is holistic, that covers a lot of different bases. And that is what I talk about in my natural fibroid elimination course that is out now. It is basically the Fibroid Freedom Toolkit, where I arm you with all of the herbs and supplements that I personally used to become naturally fibroid free. So if you're interested in the Fibroid Freedom Toolkit, it is available now. Send me a message in the comments and I will send you the link to download. It is self-guided. It's $297, but you get everything. You get all of the herbs and supplements that I used, as well as my own personal commentary on how you can incorporate them into your life and how I use them, how they worked for me in order to set up your own natural fibroid elimination action plan. So it doesn't take one thing. That's misconception number 2. It takes actively arranging your lifestyle into what is a natural fibroid elimination action plan or regimen. And if you'd like me to help you personally get that set up, message me. Like I said, we could do it through the one-on-one coaching, or you can take the course, the Fibroid Freedom Toolkit. On to number 3, misconception number 3 with uterine fibroids that prevent women from succeeding with shrinking them naturally is that it only involves physical action steps, or action steps that involve physicality of our existence. For example, eating certain things or not eating certain things, taking things into our body, which is important, herbs and supplements, that kind of thing. You know, these physical actions are important components of what make a sound, solid natural fibroid elimination regimen. But I would like to, start to help you to balance that out. You need to also do an audit of toxic thinking, your emotional well-being, the areas of your life that and your existence are not physical, So with your emotions, we're talking your thoughts. What is the underlying fuel? Where are your thoughts coming from? What type of thoughts are you having on a day-to-day basis about yourself, your role in life? What type of relationships are you engaging yourself in, making yourself available to? There is a psychological aspect of our well-being and health. And if it's not healthy, that could also in turn help your body to grow fibroids. And addressing those things and making sure these areas are balanced, as well as other areas, including the physical areas that we mentioned with food and what we're taking into our person, our bodies, they all work together to make that solid natural fibroid elimination action regimen. So that's misconception number 3. Misconception number 4 is, first of all, that natural fibroid elimination is impossible. It's not even a reality. I could have started with that one, but I was just going off the top of my head here. So, number 4, misconception. If you're really serious about shrinking fibroids naturally, you've got to make that shift to where you believe that natural fibroid elimination is possible for you. Natural fibroid elimination is a reality that is already in existence in another plane that you have to do the work to raise that vibration, empower yourself, have the faith, start to do things in life to manifest and will that in from the ethers to make it your reality here in the now. Because that is really the reality for anything. The law of attraction, we're talking the metaphysics now. You got to be flexible, open-minded, and able to shift back into, the 5D, into the 3D, and everywhere in between. And that goes with anything for living empowered, and staying high vibrational, at your healthiest, most resilient and capable state of existence as a goddess, as an empowered member of the divine feminine, as someone who manifests natural womb wellness, who is in good, harmonious, divinely protected and whole health at all times. You know, we are all kind of vibrating in and out of, or we have the ability to vibrate up and down on the, you know, resonant scale. And, you know, if you know anything about vibration, you know, lower vibrational thoughts, activities, foods, people, relationships, you know, spaces, that kind of thing, have the ability and have effects on us all throughout the day at any time in our lives. You know, we're always constantly vibrating, and we have that scale that we could be going up and down on at all times. So it's your job as a creator, a creatress, a goddess, and a member of the divine feminine to protect that, you know, and to affirm yourself and assert yourself, to always maintain the highest vibrational state for yourself as possible at all times. And, you know, you need to do the mindset work, do the meditation, you know, do the affirmations or whatever it is that really works for you, that speaks to you vibrationally from that standpoint that you can feel, you know, balancing your chakras. And that really helps you to feel like your vibration is high and is able to be raised if there is a downshift. You got to do these things in order to maintain. And if you don't know about any of these things, then that could already tell you that, you know, you need to start doing this activity, these meditations and whatnot, to shift, to believe that natural fibroid elimination is possible for you. If I can do it, there's other women all over YouTube, other stories that have naturally eliminated and are successful at preventing the return of uterine fibroids. You can do it too. It is available to you. It just takes work. And, you know, one day, you know how it is. We're never the same. So one day you may be all about this natural fibroid elimination, goddess, high-powered, high-vibrational energy lifestyle, and then the next day you may have a setback. It may be a sad day. Somebody may have hurt your feelings, or you may have an experience that didn't turn out the way you wanted. But you know what? You got to do that work. You got to continue to come back and put that work in to make sure you're vibrating high, and give yourself those affirmations. Look yourself in the eye in the mirror and say, this womb is fibroid free, and be grateful about it. I'm grateful that I am fibroid free. I'm grateful that this womb is divinely and harmoniously functioning at its fullest capacity and divinely protected and holistic health. You know, whatever works for you, you can take that and use it. But you've got to do these things in order to step into that true belief in the now. Walk in that belief that natural fibroid elimination is your birthright, is possible for you, and is your reality. On to my fifth and last misconception about uterine fibroids, and that is that you cannot be active because you have fibroids. Again, can't be further from the truth. Fibroids, I noticed that, you know, and first of all, when I had fibroids, I was going through all of the heavy bleeding and, you know, the impaired movement at some points. Couldn't even bend forward at some times. But, you know, I grew up as an athlete. If you don't know this about me, I grew up playing basketball, volleyball. I grew up running track. And I was used to being athletic. But of course, just like any other woman, there were times when I probably was not the most athletic. You know, I won't say that I always was going to the gym regularly. So, but I did have that memory of what it means to be active and work out on a regular basis. So, you know, it's important to note that, because I noticed that there are some women that they seem averse to doing, you know, mildly vigorous, regular cardio activity and free weights. There's some women that just seem like they're like, oh no, I don't do that. You know, what kind of exercise can I do if I have fibroids? You know, it hurts, or the bleeding and that kind of thing. I'm just here to tell you, sis, you need to get that body moving. Even if you have to do baby steps, if you can only do 5 minutes to start, if you can only do speed walking, you need to start somewhere, because you've got to make that environment that was so comfortable for your body to manifest a uterine fibroid uncomfortable, so that now that uterine fibroid that is there in your womb is uncomfortable and wants to get the heck out of there. And that's exactly what I know that I did, and that's what you need to do. You have to start reprogramming your cells to see that you are now stepping into your role as an active, healthy, fit goddess. You need to start moving. So if you are, you know, one of the goddesses who communicated that exercise is just too much, and just like you just kind of are just, when it comes to anything that I talk about with these high intensity interval workouts, which are very short. So it's like you can do anything for a short amount of time. And that's what I recommend as far as shrinking fibroids, just high intensity interval training, so that you can not start to stress your body out with the cardio. It's a smaller increment of time that you're doing these workouts. And when you do them, you are applied fully and you are hitting them hard. Those are the types of new behavior hacks that you want to introduce to your physical movement routine, which makes up a sound part of the natural fibroid elimination action plan to get the job done and start shrinking fibroids. These are the types of movements that you need to incorporate to make it an uncomfortable environment for the fibroids that are currently in your womb. If you're serious about shrinking fibroids, you're going to get serious about a regular exercise routine and making that womb an uncomfortable space, because they will want to leave. And I am speaking about them, the fibroids, and not taking ownership of them. I'm not saying my fibroids. You need to start referring to them separate from yourself. And when you do talk about them, they can hear, because they are connected to you, who has ears and cells. So they are very much alive, and they will know and get the message that you are giving them the eviction notice. The more you start to exercise regularly, doing that high intensity interval training, doing those speed walks, doing some burpees, you know, the day when you're, you know, not on your period or not on your cycle, or it's not as heavy, do a few burpees. That will shock. These types of things will shock the system, and eventually they'll start to shrink. And then, coupled with your other action steps for your regimen, you will be kicking those fibroids out of your womb and taking control back of your fertility, your womb wellness, and your overall health. So that is my fifth misconception of uterine fibroids. This video has already gone on way too long. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you're still with me. If you are, go to Operation Fibroid Freedom and sign up for the mailing list. If you want to know all of the tools that go in a successful goddess empowered arsenal that you can use for your own natural fibroid elimination action plan, take my course, the Fibroid Freedom Toolkit, Herbs and Supplements to Shrink Fibroids Naturally. It's now available, $297. If you want to go a step further, you want to sit down with me and have me work with you on a week-by-week basis to roll out your own natural fibroid elimination action regimen over 90 days. We can do that through one-on-one coaching. Send me a message and we can talk about the pricing. And other than that, I am Cecily, and I hope to hear from you in the comments soon. Please share this video, like and subscribe to this channel, especially if you or someone you know has uterine fibroids and is looking for natural options.